Hello and welcome. This is Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I am your host, Ty Christensen. I'm joined by Jordan Christensen.
This movie was amazing. I don't have a quote. Sorry.
This movie. I thought you were trying to sound like the robot. I thought you were trying to sound like. This was amazing. Okay, that was good. And we're also.
I was trying not to scream
Cameron
it.
Mickle. Oh, be quiet.
Been too long, cheeps.
Cameron Mickle back on the podcast. Wow, I thought you were dead, Cameron.
I vanished for 2 or 3 weeks, so I apologize.
Thought women tore you open, just how separated in all four corners of the earth. Everyone's trying to get a piece of you, Cameron.
I don't know if I would go that far, but
Quite the ladies' man. I guess all three of you are single, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Jordan, you're a ladies' man. Nick, welcome, Nick. What's up? Nick's back on the podcast.
Hey guys, what's going on?
We're so pleased to have you.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, today we're discussing a really special movie. We're discussing Upgrade. This is a movie directed by Leigh Whannell, and you might know Leigh Whannell's work, from like the Insidious franchise and Saw franchise. Of course, he co-did those. I think he did Insidious 3.
Yeah, Insidious 3. Yeah.
Right. But then he's been gone on to do like Invisible Man. Upgrade was his film, kind of his foray into horror sci-fi. So I'm really excited to talk about this film. This came out in 2018, directed by, I already said they're directed, starring great Logan Marshall Green, Melanie
Don't you think the main character, Ty, looks a little bit like our stepbrother, Chris and Brandon? Oh, are you going to say Tom Hardy?
I was going to say Tom Hardy, but
he looks so much like Tom Hardy, yeah.
It's insane how much he looks like Tom Hardy, but you're right, he definitely does look like Brandon and Chris. When we have Chris on, we'll have to tell him, does anyone ever mistake you for Logan Marshall Green? He's like, no, but maybe they mistake me for Tom Hardy. I'd be like, oh, that's sick, man. Must be easy. Also starring Steve Danielson, Abby Craden, Harrison Gilbertson, Benedict Hardy, Richard Cawthorn, Christopher Kirby, many others, and Betty Gabriel. Can't forget Betty Gabriel. She was awesome. It's the Detective Cortez.
Yeah, she's cool.
She's cool. Okay. Oh, and sorry, can't forget to mention STEM. The voice of STEM was Simon Maiden. Just got to throw that out there, of course. Let's go around, talk about what was it like watching this movie the first time? What was it like rewatching it for the podcast? Let's start with you, Cameron.
Okay, I think the first time I ever saw it, I was with Jordan, I believe. Right, cheap?
I don't remember.
Which doesn't really seem like a movie that you'd stumble upon.
No, you watched it with Grant, I think.
No,
Jordan would cram down your throat. He's like, oh, you got to watch this, Cameron. And you're like, oh, I don't know. I haven't heard anything
I wanted to watch it with you. I don't remember watching it with you.
Okay, yeah. So I watched it with Jordan. It was after we had already watched like 4 movies in that day, and so I just did not want to watch a movie. And then he was like, you got to watch this, cheap. And I was like, oh, boy. And then I started watching it, or he told me, he's like, it's really good, and the cinematography's good. I was like, okay. So I watched it. And holy cow, I was blown away at like kind of an indie film, just with amazing. It was such a fun experience. And I think 2 weeks later I showed it to Drew and Grant, and they both loved it so much. And it was so fun to see their reactions as well as like my second reaction. I was like, holy cow, this is just as good or even better the second time.
Yeah. Jordan, what was it like watching it the first time and rewatching it for the pod?
Well. When I first heard about this movie,
Well, children, gather around. You sound like Papa Beaver. Papa Beaver, tell us a story.
Yeah, it's...
Oh, yes, children, gather around.
I know. I just want everybody to watch this movie. I can't... I watched a review on YouTube about somebody saying how it was really good, and this guy is like super critical of everything YMS. He just like rips apart movies, and so when he said it was pretty good, I'm like, all right, I'll check it out. And I checked it out, and I'm like, how are not more people talking about this movie, because it is amazing. And I also loved the main character. I thought he was great in Prometheus and The Invitation, and I just hope he keeps making stuff, because this movie was one of my favorite films. And then rewatching it again for this podcast, like the part where he like starts to move for the first time and his hands are coming alive, that music, I mean, I felt like I was watching like an old school like Frankenstein. I was waiting for the man to yell like, "It's alive! It's alive!" Like it was so good. Just amazing film. I can't talk highly enough about this movie. I just think I'm so glad we're finally talking about it because it's a film I don't think enough people are talking about, and it's really well done.
You mean like 3 years later after it came out, people still aren't talking about this film? Hidden movie gems. Why aren't enough people talking about this thing, man? We're on the fringe, Jordan. Nick, what was it like watching it the first time, and what was it like rewatching it for the podcast?
Well, watching it the first time was yesterday, and watching it for the podcast was an hour ago. And I didn't know anything about the movie. Jordan was just like, "Hey, watch this movie," and I'm like, "Okay." So I didn't read the description. I didn't know anything about the movie. I got it, watched it, and first 5-10 minutes in, I was like, "Oh man, I got suckered into something bad." But I was more than surprised many times. I quickly turned. I mean, the second that ship spoke to him, I was like, wow, this actually might be a really good movie. And I was not let down. It was fantastic. But both times,
I'm surprised.
I was actually more excited to watch it the second time than the first.
I'm surprised that you didn't catch on. I mean, like right at the beginning, I thought you'd be super into like the futuristic cars and all that. Is that not? Did not catch?
I didn't know. I thought maybe it was like upgrading a car or something. I'm like, it's just gonna be like some Fast and Furious movie. It's gonna.
This whole movie, Nick, just evolves around a guy that has to update his phone. He doesn't have enough space to do it, so It's like the whole movie is about him clearing space off of his phone so he can finally upgrade it to the newest iOS
Nick,
update.
I know you well, Nick. I'm like, a revenge movie. This is perfect for Nick.
I didn't know it was anything about that. I had no idea what the movie was about at all. All I knew was the title and the guy. That's all I knew. They saw his face in the little, that's it. That in the movie. Upgrade.
That's cool. Sometimes the best way to watch a movie, though. If you know too much about it, sometimes it's not as exciting. You know?
Yeah.
Especially like a low-key film like this. For some reason, I like I like to not be told about my films that are revenge flicks, like Mandy, Upgrade, Django. Like I didn't even know about any of these films before I saw them. I was just like, oh, Tarantino's new film, I'll watch it. Like I didn't even know anything about it. I watched them like this is great. Upgrade, I didn't know anything about it. Watched the film like this is great. Like don't tell me like it's a revenge flick. But that's the best part. There are so many different avenues you can take, right? I mean, Django Unchained is a revenge flick. Kill Bill's a revenge flick. But they're like completely different things, right? And Upgrade is a perfect example of that. This is like sci-fi horror. I don't even know how to categorize this movie. I love this movie. I saw this the first time and I remember thinking like, oh, this guy's going places, And I like his style. I like his attention to detail. Very exciting. So I would say Leigh definitely had my ear, he had my eye, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to keep watching what this guy does. And I remember hearing like after Tom Cruise's blunder with like the Mummy franchise. I mean, that's not necessarily his fault, but like the whole Mummy revitalizing the Universal monsters thing, like mummies and Frankensteins and werewolves. It just like wasn't very exciting. It failed to captivate audiences with all the CGI and everything, and I didn't even see it, right? But movies like this, where it's like he then takes a property like Invisible Man and makes it like a different, very personable story, and that's what Upgrade is. It's a very personal story. So I like it each time as I keep watching it. I liked it more last night. There were scenes that I forgot. I was like, I actually remember thinking there was only like 2 or 3 scenes that I enjoyed, but then I was like, no, there's a lot of great scenes. There's a few parts in between each of the scenes, but it's like, I can't imagine how much their budget was. Like, this is a small film, and it's hard to do sci-fi when you have such a small budget. And make it compelling and make it even gritty. Like, I love it's very gritty. So we're going to get around and say 2 of our favorite things about this film.
Wait, what?
What's that? What?
Oh, did Cameron already go?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. Everyone said their first time and second time. So yeah, I enjoyed it even more the second. There was more things to enjoy about it the second time. So I really like I'll just say, I'll go first. I like the camera work. I think that we always throw the term cinematography around this podcast. You can do a drinking game with how many times we refer to the cinematography. But it actually plays like just general, broad sweeping camera movement's great. No, like the camera actually moves with what you would imagine like someone taking over. Like the stem, the whole plot centers around. Well, I guess we should probably give a plot synopsis. Jordan, do you have that?
Sure.
If you don't, I can pull one up here too.
I got it.
Set in the near future. You got it, Jordan. Take it away. Near future. Set in the day of
set
in 3 years.
Set in the near future, technology controls nearly all aspects of life. But when the world of Gray, who's Gray? Is that his name? Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the main character.
Okay. It's the main guy.
I forget his name. Okay, but when in the world of Gray, a self-labeled technophobe is turned upside down, his only hope for revenge is an experimental computer chip implant.
I know kung fu.
Yeah, see, I didn't know any of that going into it, so that's awesome. I'm so glad I did. It made the movie so much better.
Yeah.
It really did.
It does.
For sure. And it's this movie. Let's get right into it. Two of our favorite things. So the camera movement, it actually acts kind of like what is happening to the protagonist. So I really like that. So Gray is being activated by this STEM chip implant. That it's kind of like I don't know. It's kind of like The Matrix in a way, right? I mean, I don't know what other movie to compare it to. Like something that gives you the ability to fight, right? So he can take over his nervous system. It's a little chip that he has in the back of his spine, so he can like fight really good, right? Because STEM is like this all-powerful, knowing chip in his central nervous system, and he can like talk to him and he communicates to it, and this chip like helps him fight. So the way that like when he's fighting, the camera movement kind of feels like the camera operator throughout the movie then gets taken for a ride too. I don't know, so it kind of makes it immerses you in it more, and I really like that. I think that was really well done. And what's funny is when you see the Invisible Man, there's a scene obviously when the Invisible Man's running around, and it kind of gets into that action feel. Like I love his camera work. I love the tilting camera screen when he pops up from the ground. They do it like 2 or 3 times in the movie, and it's just awesome. So I love the camera movement, and I also like sometimes I really like the contained stories. Like yeah, it is the future, and it's like, you know, this whole world, but it's just like a contained story about like, you know, 6 characters that are really important, and then you just kind of play around with them and their stories and their relationships to each other. So it's contained, it's small, it's small budget. It's one of those good indie films. You know, you can only watch so many movies about giant beams in the sky and the whole world's going to come to an end, but it's like, hey man, this one guy's got to get vengeance for his dead wife. That's it. That's all there is, you know. What has he got to lose? So it's a great movie. Those are my 2 favorite things. Let's do you, Cameron.
Obviously, kind of like you said, the camera work is amazing, but I think kind of besides the camera work, 2 of my favorite things. One is definitely, I don't know, the action sequences are just so like engaging, and it's just so intense. Where it's like, and I love it because lots of times you almost like you fear for him since he's not in control. So it kind of adds like a second layer of suspense because you're like, oh man, you don't even know what's like happening or whatever. And then the fact that other people have upgrades as well. And then, I don't know if I had to say probably my other favorite thing about it was I feel like it was like really kind of, it was subtle, but I really liked the humor in the film. Because there's like lots of times that I caught myself laughing, and I feel like it's a pretty serious film, but it has lots of like really kind of solid moments like where he makes jokes about being handicapped or like he'll be talking to STEM and then STEM will say something back to him. Like I love that part, whatever. He's like, "You're a ninja." He's like, "I'm not a ninja." And he's like, I just know how to like fight or whatever. Like a lot of the lines I just really enjoyed, and I thought it was like very clever humor.
Nice. Jordan, how about you?
Sorry, man. Checking out my list.
The list.
Okay, so
Nerd.
Ty already mentioned it, but the details and specifically, they just have a lot of little tiny moments that I absolutely feel like this movie is set apart from other action flicks. Because, I mean, like Ty said, maybe perhaps it's not an action flick, it's maybe more sci-fi, but it's kind of a mixture of all that stuff. But I like it better than some of those because of the details, because you get more attached to characters when they take the time to put those details in. Like, for example, when he's in the car with his wife and right before it flips, he buckles her seatbelt. And it's a moment like that tells you this character...
the integrity of the character?
Yeah. Another detail is I just love the moment where the mom's cutting his hair and he starts to cry. I don't know. I got emotional with that scene. So I just think.
Jordan, just imagine mom cutting his hair.
Sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
No,
We're gonna cry
but
now.
it's just it's just moments like that I really love. So, and I feel
When
like
people cry.
you get more emotionally attached to the characters because it feels more real than. And the other moment was when the robot says, "Is your wife coming to dinner?" And because the robot doesn't know she's dead, and so it's that moment that you're like, oh man, that poor guy, like, has to keep reliving it and keep being reminded that his wife is dead. And it was a little detail like that I just thought set it apart from, other action flicks where it's just nonstop. And then they spew out stupid exposition. And then right afterwards, they just do a bunch of action back to just that people talking,
I did really appreciate how I feel like they did a really good job at making post, like that post that traumatic event, like I felt like they did it very like a reasonable kind of reaction of him, because I feel like in a lot of movies something super traumatic happens and then the person like gets over it in like a day or something like that. But I loved how he's kind of like hated life and he just thought it was like
No, Cameron, it's even better.
miserable.
In an hour and 30-minute time span, dude.
yeah, and so that's I
The
love
length of one movie.
yeah, and I love it because he's just like he's so frustrated and you can't look like it's hard for you to look at the positive side of a situation. It's like the only person you really loved in this world was murdered, and then you're handicapped, and so it's like all you have left is your mom, and like you're not even like fully functional. It is really frustrating.
This movie is just like a fantasy for handicapped people. Like, if I had that power, I'd cut your head up and mutilate your faces of all you people. That's crazy. How about you, Nick? What are your two favorite things?
Well, you guys said a lot of them, but I did really like the fact that he was able to have the conversations with STEM, like, kind of going back to that point. That was pretty cool, and him being able to take control of that. When that first time I saw that was probably one of my favorite parts of the movie, even, was he just got up and just started like just kicking butt. I was like, dang. That's like that between that and when STEM first talked, that was like the turning point for me in the movie. I'm like, I just knew right there I was gonna love the movie. But the ending too, that was, I thought, like, I'll put that in the top like 10 favorite endings. I love that ending, actually. Like, now he was in his mind, okay, now he's just gonna be. There's another movie that kind of happened. I'm not gonna be able to remember it, but the guy was like hooked up to a machine, and he was just like this in this fantasy world. Like, he was not really alive and walking around and doing things, but he was stuck in his mind, but in his perfect world, essentially. He's back with his his wife.
I have two movies. Are you referring to either Total Recall?
That might be it. Yeah, is that it? Or
That might be it.
Or what's the one? Or is it the Repo Men? The Repo Men?
Or Repo Man.
Repo
That
Man.
could be. I
Repo
don't
Man.
remember
Yeah, because he was.
guess that
he
could be.
couldn't. Yeah, he couldn't do the job, and he was hit or something, and he was like wound up dying. And they played through the whole movie, and right at the end, they realized no, he was actually like hooked up to a machine. It was all a fantasy. He actually died in that situation.
Oh, Source Code.
Source Code? Jake Gyllenhaal, where he's on the train and he's just like a little
No,
shell of a
no,
man.
that's-
Bunch of organs laying in a tube.
I know Source Code too, but
Okay.
that'd be another.
Yeah,
That would be another example of it. Yes,
right,
yes.
Right.
Well,
I get the vein that you're talking about.
It's interesting too that the whole cripple thing, because I was thinking they do that again in his other film, his first film. He likes to do these people that you really feel like a lot of sympathy for. In what's the scary one he did?
Insidious 3.
Yeah, Insidious 3. Remember the girls had broken legs?
Don't know.
Yeah,
Never
dude,
seen
he's
it.
fascinated. But, it's a little upsetting, He doesn't use real people with real crippled, He uses actors that
my
are pretending to be
gosh.
crippled.
Well, I'll tell you, he can't, because this character has to be able to stand up and fight, you goofball.
Oh, okay. Are you believe handicapped people aren't capable of acting like they're not crippled? Jeez,
Absolutely.
Jordan. You're so terrible, Jordan. Jeez, set limitations. Handy-capable, by the way, not handicapped. Oh my gosh. Dude, I can't wait to get to the end of this podcast. I'm gonna share my beef with this whole thing going on. Anyway. All right. Two of your least favorite things. I got one. I'll be honest. I liked all of great.
I loved that
I like
his
all
movements. Like Rob.
Yeah. He does a really good job moving, but I always felt like it was really funny that he the director's like, hey, send me some footage of like you acting kind of robotic, and he kind of gave him the raps, and he's like practicing for it, and he goes, oh, Leigh Whannell's like, okay, a little too much, Logan. I need you to tame it down a little bit because he's acting like so animatronic. But then he's like, okay, so he like toned it back, and he's like, I want it to be like fluid and sleek, you know. In the end, I think he kind of went a little too far one way with not just the movement, but like with his, I don't want to say his acting. He just kind of came off as it was a little cheesy at times. Like there's like a weird creative choice when he like jumps on the guy at the bathroom and he's like, see, you thought I was a cripple, but you didn't know that I'm a ninja. Like it's like maybe he's leaning into it because it's freaking cheesy. But and then Stem comes in with a joke, and that's why it kind of helps that Stem talks. He goes, "Well, I'm state of the art. I am not a ninja." Like I thought that was funny because like again, it adds a little bit of alleviates some of the tension with like humor. But again, for some reason, his like. Some of his mannerisms were just kind of weird, you know.
Yeah, he reminds me a little bit of that stuff like that reminds me of those old 80 action films when they're just those cheesy one-liners and stuff.
Yeah, right. Like I almost maybe he's just like watched RoboCop and he's just like, this is the exact plot of RoboCop, right? Like a guy gets blasted and his wife gets taken.
Oh, this is RoboCop. It's a modern day.
This is a film that reminds me of one of them was RoboCop.
Right. Yeah, and obviously that was an inspiration for the director, so he like wanted to do that. But for some reason, yeah, it's like creatively, I just like, was that the best take? Was this like the funniest take? Like I just didn't know what he was going for when he's just like, and obviously the line is funny because he's all like, yeah, I'm awesome because I got STEM, you know. So in the end, but there was a few moments like that, right? Where like for example. He was like when he was first learning about it. I enjoyed that fight sequence more. Like when he's in the house.
Yeah, and he's like, "Take over."
Yeah, take it. Yeah, he's like, "Oh, I'm joking." He's just like, "Not until you give me permission." Permission granted. And then he like comes up, you know, like rises up from the floor and then starts bashing the guy. He's like, "Oh," and everything he's watching, he's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." Like he's like beating the guy with dishes and stuff, and he's got a knife. We have a knife, and he stabs him. He's like, "Oh, jeez, man, I'm so sorry. Stop fighting, please." You know, like I thought that was really fun. That was where the humor came from, and that reminded me back of like Jackie Chan and some of the, you know, John Wick. Like very humor with action is actually really effective because again, he's like amazed at how much he's owning these guys like with his fighting ability. So that works really well. I'm just saying some of the times where I guess he gets cocky, and maybe it's because he's been a loser all of his life. He gets up, he didn't know I was a ninja. I don't know, it just kind of bothered me, and I keep thinking about it a lot. But in the end, I'm like, I don't know if I would have wanted the movie any different, but that's just one thing that I want to nitpick on. So, anyway, anyone else have any nitpicks or something?
No, this film was perfect.
This film was perfect. Yes, it was.
Well, I had one other one, okay?
Oh my, this is so nitpicky, dude.
No, it's not even nitpicky. It's just like, so remember when the drones show up and they like can't identify them? What I was hoping is like, you live in the future, you got cars that self-drive themselves and everything, and you can do whatever you want. It's like, could you not build a drone with like, I don't know, sleeping darts or like pellets or something? Like I'm like, they're flying overhead. The drone's like watching an act of crime happening. Couldn't they like just, I don't know, load a bunch of tranq darts inside all the drone? I don't know. Like they're witnessing a crime. They're like, well, police can't get to the scene and stop this crime from happening. It's like, you guys live in the future. You have things like STEM that exist. You can't even load a drone.
I'm just saying, Ty. Have you seen Chappie and all that stuff?
Oh, Chappie. Oh, Chappie. I love Chappie.
Well, I think
I don't remember what happens to Chevy.
Well, I think they're not loaded with that stuff because then people would be shooting them down right away, I feel like. And I think that's why the people didn't shoot it down.
Yeah, you probably shouldn't build them because people would just destroy them, right? So it's like not worth trying to build them. Just make a reconnaissance drone and catches you in the act of committing a crime. But
clearly there's a reason behind it. I'm just saying.
It's just what did that drone do? Where did that drone come from? Where does it go? It watches the crime happen, and then it's just like, okay, cops get there and they're gone. It's like the drones didn't follow them home or anything, right? The drones. I was just saying, like, I love the drone. I was just so excited. I was like, oh, this freaking drone's gonna do something, and it just sat there and floated in the air. And I'm like, come on, do something, fly into someone, man. Maybe I just got done watching Venom and I realized that drones can do anything. They can blow up cars. They can shoot things and lasers and. Oh, it's great.
Incredible. I felt like this movie was very similar to Venom.
Dude, this movie was similar to Venom, right? You had the voice inside his head. One thing I also didn't understand.
Better.
Was
in
I to
every way.
understand? Was I to understand that Stem did not understand Gray's thoughts? He couldn't get inside his mind because he had to speak vocally,
verbalize them.
right? Just making sure I caught that because again, he always had to speak.
Yes.
And that was one of the other few things where he was like talking, and I guess he was having a moral quandary about what was going on, but he was always like, "We got to do this," and the guy's like, "Who are you talking to?" Like, I don't know. I always think that's cheesy. Like, we can't do this. I don't know.
Well, Ty, I'm just saying, if someone was standing above you and saying "we," you'd be like, "Who the frick are you talking to?" You're saying you wouldn't say that?
The guy's reaction was normal, but for some reason, it just made me feel weird when he's like saying the word "we." Like, he could just be like, "I can't do this." Like, obviously, when he's talking to Stem, he's like, "You're taking control of my body, but I don't morally feel like I could do this." And that's why I even liked it, where he's like, "Just look away, I'll take over and do it." And then he's like, dices the guy up. It's just like, oh, gross. I was so terrified when they cut to him. I was like, it's just going to be like, his eyelids are going to be peeled off. Like, I was so scared. But, like, thankfully, it was too grisly. Just a bunch of cuts, you know, a little bit of sprinkled blood across the face there and there. But
I think it was a fairly moderate rated R film.
Oh yeah.
Moderate?
There was like three gruesome deaths. Three gruesome deaths.
What about like a guy?
It.
Yeah, 3 gruesome deaths. That's all it takes. You take 1 gruesome death.
Okay, yeah.
Guy gets a knife and literally pulls it like a horse bit through the back of his head and splits his jaw out. Yeah.
And then when he killed the other bionic man, that was sick. When he went to the back of his head with the glass, and then the other one was the slicing up the guy in the bathroom. That was pretty gruesome.
I had one moment that made me think of Bill and Ted's Face the Music when he's just like, dude, I can't fight him. He's anticipating my every move. And I was like, do something unpredictable. That's literally what I thought, you know? So he's like, put a bucket on his head, right? Put a bucket on their head and walk around. They didn't do that in this movie, but I was just like, do something unpredictable.
Don't ever compare Upgrade to a Bill and Ted film ever again, or I'll kill you.
All right,
Cameron. When I saw that villain, the first thing that came to mind is the word you guys always use is OP. When he like, huh?
Dude, he is super OP.
When he like sneezes and the little things come out of his nose, I was like, "Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous."
Yeah, that's honestly like one of the only few like nitpicks. That's kind of just like I felt like he almost had. He was just like had everything. I was just kind of like, okay, whatever. Like you can't kill somebody by just a sneeze.
Until he fought against someone else with Stem. That was exciting, right at the very end.
Yeah, I guess.
Unequal partner. Well, that's the fun part because again, the whole movie you're like, oh, it's going to be very easy for him. But then like, as new challenges present itself, like when he like had to, he's like uploading Stem because he's like a useless cripple writhing on the ground and just like crawling with one hand. You're just like, come on, Stem, wake up, activate, whatever. You know, it's great. So they have the. Kind of like the Ben 10 you used to watch, Cameron, you know? He has this watch, he can turn into an alien, but it never works, you know? He always turns into the wrong alien, then he has to overcome his adversity because he thinks he wants to be a certain alien, but he always transforms into the wrong one, right? Isn't that what your show was?
Which really turns out to be the right one. Oh, what up?
Yeah, well,
dude, Ben 10 is a
finds a way to
masterpiece.
overcome against all odds.
Greatest series ever made, dude. I had great taste when I was 9.
Kevin 11 and Lenny 20.
I don't remember Lenny 20. I knew about Kevin 11, though.
I'm sure they have different names for... What's a name that rhymes with 30? Anyway, okay, we're moving on. Quotes from this movie. We mentioned a few of them already. I'm trying to remember. One of them was great. It's like he would always say, "You now have full control again." Gray. I like that.
Oh yeah.
This kind of harkens back to me. It kind of harkens back to like Hal from 2001: Space Odyssey. His voice. I feel like his voice kind of reminded me of that because obviously, the end. We're gonna get into spoilers here. The Stem ends up taking over his life and then pushes Gray far back into like his deep subconscious, and he lives this fake life while Stem gets to go on being this awesome machine.
How was he able to take over his subconscious if he couldn't control his brain and thoughts? Like
he had to break him. That's what he said.
Oh.
In order for him to access.
He sent him to the coder. Yeah, he had to send him to the coder. Remember the guy that
that lady hacked it, and then
that's right.
And then he was like, boom,
accessed his brain, and then just like a parasite, he leeches in, and he's like, I am now my own body. Gray or parasite guy, whatever his name is. Stem is willing to, or is able to now be a fully autonomous. You know, while he shoved it back, kind of like a Get Out, you know, sunken place or something like that. But it's a joyous place.
Some of my favorite quotes would do. One of them that gave me chills is when Stem says, when he turns to me or he like talks to me, he says, "We're going to finish the job we started." And I was like, "Oh fudge, stop him!"
Right. I cannot allow us to be killed. He was really cool, you know. And there was I loved all the banter back and forth. Like, oh, he's got a knife. We have a knife, you know. And then you watch it. He's just like, oh gosh, like that's really cool. So we are going to get into movies that this is like. I mean, like we said, RoboCop. It's like all those movies.
Venom.
Venom. Yeah, very much like Venom meets RoboCop. That's literally your movie. And
Except
then,
10 times better than both of those.
Yes.
Better than yes. Well, no, I don't know. RoboCop is really good. Go watch RoboCop again. That is a great movie.
Are you talking about the
watched that
original,
movie.
right, Ty?
Oh, yeah. Like I'd be talking
I
about
watched the
remake.
new one in theaters, and that was painful. I watched it with mom. Did that hurt my soul watching that?
Dude,
I thought
I
saw it
enjoy
with Mom.
watching
I enjoyed
people.
it.
I think I enjoy watching people in real life paintball more than I would enjoy the remake of RoboCop. So definitely like go see the original RoboCop movie.
Yeah, dude, the new
Peter
RoboCop was
Weller.
like so focused on like the surgeries and like the nastiness of that, and then like the marketing side of it. And I'm like, I don't give a crap about marketing RoboCop. Show me some action. Gosh dang it!
Right, but see, it was so funny in the original, Cameron, because it was satirical. Go watch it; it's very funny. I'd buy that for $1. You need to see it if you know what I'm talking about, dude. Okay, Nick knows what I'm talking about. So,
love RoboCop.
who wins this movie?
Ooh.
I'm gonna go with the detective. I think Betty Gabriel, Detective Cortez. I think she was the best part.
She dies.
Dude, Logan.
I know, she's a tragic character. She's like Russell Crowe. How Russell Crowe should have died in Les Mis, you know?
Dude, Logan Marshall Green, dude, the fact that he could act, my favorite thing that I noticed is that his face and his head like acts as if it's separated from his body, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. Which he's like looking this way or whatever, and he's just like punching and fighting the other direction. I thought that was so impressive. I don't care how many takes it took, like to be able to do that as an actor and like come off it very convincing and still smooth.
So based
Like, I
off
thought it
of
was-
body language, you're gonna give the Academy Award to to Logan.
That's literally what acting like. That's like 50% of acting. So I don't want to hear.
Yeah, Ty,
it.
you know
But
what?
what you didn't realize, Cameron, is that I'm a freaking ninja.
That's the one line that you have gripe with, and then you're gonna cancel him getting
Yeah,
that
Ty,
fucking Oscar for that.
You
Yeah,
know what I
loser.
realized too, Ty?
Cancel.
You gave the win on Tenet to the girl, where everything happens to her, but you never talked once about her performance. You just said, "Oh, I really like how the guy was really beat her up and did all these things to
Yeah,
her."
Ty, just because she's a girl.
Slow
You
down.
don't actually
slow
know
down.
good acting.
No,
just give
you
it
do
to
not
her
get to
because she's a
conflate those
girl.
because she demonstrated real pain when she talks about her whole scene where she's like, I actually considered leaving my child, and that pain, the fact that he knows that Andre Sater has that over me.
Okay, well,
no, that
tell
was
us why the
acting. That
cops
was
should
real
win.
pain.
Just tell us why the cops should win.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think,
See,
like,
it's
she
just
gets
I don't know.
Ty's trying to be woke.
Wait,
Try to,
okay,
you're
I'm
trying
sorry.
to be woke.
Leg,
I just
yeah,
give it to every
bull crap.
girl.
Am I trying to be woke? Yeah. Oh, I gave it to two women in a row. There must be something going on here. I've been activated.
alternate-
No, dude,
alternate
I'm
motive, dude.
going off. It reminded me. It was like akin to, like I said, like L from what's that movie? The Death Note. You know. Death Note, right? You had L. You had like a good antagonist to
Dude,
the
do
protagonist.
not-
Because in the end, technically, Logan's character Grady is not like a hero.
Wait,
by
but
any means. He's
I
like
didn't. You still haven't told us
vigilante,
why
right?
the cops should win. You just said I don't know. So what? Why?
Well, I know. I started saying I don't know, and that's never a good way to start a sentence because you guys just attack me with a blast. And you're just I'm like, rather than saying, let me think for a second, I'm like, I don't know, maybe this. I was just winding up. Okay, so
Boo, boo, boo,
I
boo.
feel like. No, I don't know why she. But I'll tell you what, I don't know. So, you know who should get it?
I don't know.
The other STEM
Definitely
guy.
go to Logan
the other
Marshall
STEM guy.
Green. Not even a competition. Easy money. Oscar.
I'll second that.
All right, I'm
What's
with that
that?
too then.
I was going to go with the other creepy guy. I'm going to go with Richard Cawthorne. He was Cirque or whatever. He was good.
See,
He was
that's
he
an
was the
understandable-
Other fighting guy.
Who's
He was
Richard
great.
Cawthorne?
Richard, you mean Bet?
Cirque. He's
I'm
the
pretty sure
freak
that-
at the end
wasn't
that he has
that-
to fight.
Oh, yeah, he played a good villain.
Or is it Fisk?
No, I
can't
thought that was
remember if it
Benedict
Fisk.
Hardy.
They all have,
It was Fisk. It
they
was
have
Benedict Hardy.
ridiculous. Yeah, Benedict Hardy. That's right. Yeah. He was. They all have ridiculous names. Fisk, Cirque, Tolan, Wen. I guess that's in the near future. People are going to start making up names for kids. Cirque. Nice catch, Circules. Okay, that didn't work. Okay, here we go. We're ending.
Do you think? Okay, in the future, I'm kind of
discussion.
curious if they decide to start like implanting robotic things into your body. Would you guys do any of that stuff?
Yeah, I'd
No.
be the very first one to try it out. Just open me up and put it inside me. I got hacked by Russian bots.
Ty, did you see?
I am no longer responsible for what I think.
Well, what's that show where they go to those guys and they ask them to invest in them, and they're a bunch of rich people and they just like ask them to invest. You know what I'm talking about?
Empathy Incorporated?
No. It's a TV show. It's about like real people in real life.
Oh, the Shark Tank?
Shark Tank. So Shark Tank, did you see the Shark Tank about a guy who's like, I have the future of technology where you can see, and talk to people through your eye. And he's like, all you have to do is inject this giant
surgery. Yeah. Oh
you
my
have to inject
gosh,
this giant needle
ever.
into your eyeball. And it was a real guy. He was crazy.
And the dude had never actually performed the surgery on a real human being, so you would be his first test subject. He'd done practices. That's it, and he was asking.
Okay,
for
in
millions of dollars.
defense, like Elon Musk has actually talked about this, right? Your famous boy Elon Musk, Iron Man, real life Iron Man. He's actually talked about how like he's working on STEM, which is like literally going to be a brain chip that will be able to like communicate to each other without even like talking. Like that's. Like he's for real talking about it, and like we're like, oh, surgery? You're gonna put a chip inside me? No way! Like it's like,
you don't.
dude, that's gonna be so standard practice.
Said.
Well,
Wait,
no. But
no. Yeah, hear me out. Yeah, it's like you're afraid initially because right now it sounds so foreign. But like if I told you, like for example, earpods, I guarantee you they're gonna eventually just do like an ear piercing or whatever, right? Like you're gonna have an earpiece. Like Cameron, you're always wearing your AirPods in your ears, even if you're not even using them. You just have them in, and then you can like turn them off. Like eventually it'll just be like a little clip, just boop, right there on the earlobe or something. You'll be able to listen. You can like push play or pause on your, We're so synonymous with technology. I think it's just a matter of time. I really do. But you're right, Jordan. Would I be the first to sign up and be like, hey, you just got this rusty age chip, and it's like, well, you're gonna have to replace the battery every year. And it's like, well, what does that involve? It's like, well, we're gonna have to cut you open, and we're gonna have to take out your spleen, and then you'll lose one of your kidneys, so you can only do it twice. So like, you'll get this machine in your body, it won't work. Like, don't take the first one ever invented. Is my point.
Well, every time I saw that gun in his hand, I'm just like, I wonder how many diseases and things he got from that gun. In his arm.
He's loading bullets inside his forearm or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's nasty, dude.
I mean, what if you had to replace that part? Then you have to like go in and like they'd have to remove everything. Oh no.
Yeah, let's just not talk about it before I pass out.
Cameron, you could be like Iron Man, shoot bullets out of your wrist, man. What better? By the way, not the most accurate. Like, I'll be honest. Like, look at your hand. If you extend your palm, I don't know how accurate you would be at shooting. Maybe if it came out of your fingertip, you could.
Maybe get some practice. I'm sure they had to. And it was a shotgun bullet too, Ty. So it sprays.
Yeah.
What if you went for a high five?
You're not
in
going
a
for a clean
basketball
kill,
game and you
Ty.
accidentally
Tell me that much.
activated it? Hopefully, it was like so intuitive that you would know if you were shooting it. But like, imagine going for a high five, or you just like slap someone on the forehead, you just blow them away. Like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize my wrist was loaded. I'm so sorry.
I'm just saying, I don't think people in that profession with guns in their arms are giving out high fives. Time playing a little basketball game. So just saying.
They're going for a job interview and they shake the guy's hand. They go in for a handshake and just blow their future employer's arm off and just shred his hand. So do I get the job or not? I'm really sorry about that. Oh my gosh, that's so great. What if he's typing away at his computer and he's just like typing, and then like all of a sudden he like he just types too hard and it just shoots a gaping hole, 12 gauge, right through his computer. Nuts. This is the fourth one this week. Yeah, don't buy the first one, Jordan. Don't buy the first one. All right, here we go. We're going to go into... Oh, anything else you wanted to say? Would you recommend this movie?
Absolutely.
Yes, I recommend this movie. This is a fun
100%
one.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Fun movie. Fun movie. Anyone say no? If you say no on this, we'll throw you off the episode. Okay, let's get into our next segment. Cameron, what are good movies that you've seen lately and movies that you're looking forward to seeing?
Sweet. Okay, well, so it's been a couple weeks since I've been on the podcast, so I've seen quite a few movies. I watched Marriage Story. It's a very good film. It's a little bit of a depressing story about a divorce, but Adam Driver did a great job in the film.
Wait. Marriage Story is about divorce?
Yeah, strange, right? And then
ironic, isn't it?
I watched 50-50, which was very funny, a very enjoyable film.
I love
it. Was like kind of an overall depressing feel, but then it finished very uplifting.
I have cancer. No, that's too dark. Don't lean into that. Never mind. Abort mission. That doesn't work.
Yeah, and then I watched season 2 of One Punch Man. It was great. I watched a while ago Misery.
Have you started
I
season
watched-
2 of The Boys yet?
Oh.
No, I need to start that.
Oh
Season
my
2 of The Boys. I've been watching
gosh.
that.
The boys.
So good.
And then I watched Uncut Gems, and I was very underwhelmed.
Boo. I love
Really?
it.
Oh, Uncut Gems was good.
I
Uncut
thought it was
Gems
very
good.
overrated. I don't know.
Who was it?
No, it's underrated.
Bird Box, I watched that, and that was trash. That was realistic. I could have made a film that was more realistic than that. I watched Extract, funny movie, horrible message. Watched Aliens with Jordan, enjoyable. I watched War Dogs, fetching amazing, super
Hey,
funny.
So
Love
Ramirez,
Jonah
did
Hill.
anyone ever mistake you for a man? Funny. I was just going to ask you the same thing. Love that.
That was a pretty good line, yeah. Jordan showed me some scenes from The Punisher and Hell or High Water, both super dope scenes. And then I watched Unhinged with Jordan in theaters. Super good. Very not deep at all, but just very entertaining film.
We need to do that as a mini episode because that is so much fun to talk about.
And
Which
then
one? Sorry, I missed that one.
Unhinged.
Unhinged.
With Russell- starring
Oh, yes,
Russell Crowe.
yeah.
Tight. That
need
would
to
be
see that.
hilarious to talk about. He is just wild. His performance is crazy.
Yeah.
I'll need to go see this one.
Yeah, if you do,
And
we'll do a
then-
mini episode.
Then I also watched House at the End of the Street. It's kind of interesting. And I wasn't paying complete attention the whole time. And I also watched 2012. Horrible film.
No, Cameron. It's the great film about getting your wife back. You know, you just got to send the new husband through the gears. You know, don't even have a moment of silence for him. Just get him sucked in the gears, and then
And then he moves back in on his wife.
moves back in. Move on over.
Okay, and then also my favorite movie that I've seen the past couple weeks was definitely Tenet, which I was super bummed I wasn't able to be on the episode or the podcast for. But oh my gosh, overall fantastic film. I've seen it twice now in the theaters. The cinematography, the soundtrack, the score. Oh, it's all just so beautiful. It reminded me a lot of Prestige. Just Christopher Nolan does it again. Never disappoints. The movie could be set up for a sequel or a trilogy. It's just there's so many open doors and so much about time travel. I just loved it. And they talked about the grandfather effect, which we had mentioned a couple weeks ago on the podcast. So yeah, no big deal. Pretty much was predicting what Christopher Nolan was going to talk about. He gave me a little shout out. But no,
This is
I
my
loved
boy Cameron.
I just loved the film Tenet. Great performance by Robert Pattinson's really growing on me after seeing In Time. No, what's it called?
Good time?
Good Time. Good Time. And then also this makes me really excited for the new Batman and lots of hope for that. So yeah, what I'm looking forward to, the new Batman. What else? I'm also really looking forward to, what was it? There was a film I just recently added to my watch list that looked very promising. Oh, I got recommended Manchester by the Sea. Heard it's very depressing, but a very good film. I also need to watch 500 Days of Summer, Whiplash, and then also Faults.
Dude, watch Faults and Whiplash first. Those are so good.
But yeah, overall, bunch of great movies I've seen. Tenet, fantastic. If you haven't seen it, watch it if you can. Just go in expecting not to understand a lot in the beginning, but it's just so I loved it so much. Just an overall great film. But
Excellent.
yeah,
All right.
I gotta peace out.
All right, love you,
Oh,
Cameron.
yeah,
Why
bye.
don't you just stick around real quick? What do you have to say for yourself, Cameron? Today, the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences announced new representation and inclusion standards for Oscar eligibility in Best Picture category. What do you have to say about more inclusion and diversity, Cameron?
Bullcrap, baby. There's a whole lot of government
excited to talk
intervention and
about
things
it,
where they
but-
don't need to stick their nose in. That's all I can say. Holy crap, it's a bunch of baloney.
Baloney. All right, dude. Peace, Cameron. Thanks for being on.
Peace. Love you guys.
Bye, racist. Bye, Cameron. Sorry. Bye. Too bad I can't keep him on and to discuss it, man. That's too bad. Okay, so we are getting into Jordan. What have you seen lately? And what are you like? Oh no, Nick. I don't want to hear from you, Jordan. What
Nick.
have you seen lately?
Man, I've been pretty busy lately. Haven't seen much. This was probably the best movie I've seen in a very long time. Other than that, man, as a lot of times just been focused on work and running the business, starting a business. Madtown Resale, shout out, check us out.
Whoa, easy, okay?
Yeah, buddy, what's going on? So no, I mean, just watching, TV shows. I'm actually rewatching CSI. I stumbled upon that, and I was like, oh man, this takes me back. I used to watch a lot of CSI, back when it was first, Grisham was part of it and all that. So Grissom. So I just been watching pretty much that and just working on stuff in the background. I guess I got nothing super entertaining, but yeah. Oh, and I'm watching The League, the TV show The League. I really like that one. Yes. Jordan recommended that. That was actually really funny. I was not, he mentioned a Kevin character. Kevin, if you listen to this, you are like that guy, but not as cool as him. You know who we're talking about too. He knows exactly. That guy's just cooler than you because he's a doctor and you're, just a normal Kevin. So, love you, Kevin. Just kidding.
You're just a normal Kevin.
No, Kevin's way special.
It's special for sure.
Jordan, how about you, man? What have you seen lately? What are you looking forward to seeing?
Oh, well, gotta get that list again. Okay, so
I love the list.
I'm
Gotta
thinking.
wind up my list.
I know. I'm thinking of Ending Things, which I think you should see, Ty. It's another
Charlie Kaufman, right?
Yeah, Charlie Kaufman movie, and but it reminds me a lot of what's the movie you love, Maniac.
Wait, the series with Jonah Hill and Emma Stone?
Yeah.
Frank, that was amazing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think you would like this movie more than me, but because there's parts
going. Oh, well, I was gonna say definitely say Maniac. That's a good one.
You don't need to see Maniac, but anyways.
Cancel your Netflix subscription.
Oh well, you can get into that when it's your turn. So let's see. So yeah, I saw that. I enjoyed it. I don't know if I recommend it. I don't know, because there's so many better Charlie Kaufman movies. I would recommend Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind first, or Adaptation, or, I mean, literally any of his other films, because they are...
You mean like we reviewed on the podcast?
Yeah, or Being John Malkovich, so good. And then I finished the Hatchet series, which is hilarious and very violent. And then... I watched a couple of things. Oh, I finished Community for the first time because I'd seen it once before. I could never get through that last season, and I finally got through it. And I'm like, yeah, this is why I shouldn't have gotten through it, because the second to last episode was like about incest and stuff, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, anyways, it's just not a great last season. I don't know if Dan Harmon and Justin Roiland are just like trolling everybody with that incest humor, but it's like. It's almost at the point where it's like, look, just because, like, like, imagine some guy who's like, hey, I don't think this should be against the law. It's like, well, if you suggest that, it would strongly suggest that you're totally for it. It's like, no, I just don't think it should be against the law, Marry your cousin. It's like, wait, what? It's like, not that I want to marry my cousin, I just don't think it should be illegal. It's like, how could you not think that that you think that way, right? Like, so every time they make a joke about it, it's like, oh, it's just for humor. It's like across platforms. They've done it in every single show they've ever worked. So, Dan Harmon, man, you got some demons. Gotta explain yourself, man. I know. I love Dan Harmon, though. Okay, and then some trailers I saw that I am freaking out about that I cannot wait to see. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I get the right titles down. Okay, the first one is The Green Knight. This trailer came out a while ago, but due to the COVID, it was pushed back. And so I cannot wait for this movie. It's an A24 film. Ty, have you seen the trailer yet?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Sorry. Yeah, it's the new one, right? That's coming out on Netflix.
Yeah, it's got
tonight?
the kid in Slumdog Millionaire. What? It's Netflix.
Wait.
You're thinking of Cobra
What
Kai.
movie did
Yes, that was the other thing I was excited for is Cobra Kai
I'm
season
thinking
3.
of The Devil All the Time. That's the movie. The Devil All the Time.
Oh, I sent you that trailer. I haven't sent you this one, so maybe I did a while back. But The Green Knight looks amazing, Ty. It totally looks like something we talk about on the pod. I mean, we'll have to wait and see, but it's an A24 film. I'll send you a link.
I have to read the script first.
Oh, brother. Okay, and then...
Henry Cavill.
And then I also watched the trailer for The Mandalorian Season 2, so now I feel like I need to go back and watch Season 1 because it actually looks pretty cool.
Go back and watch it. Not again.
Finish it, sorry.
Coward. You never finished the first season.
And then I'm also interested in seeing, I think it's called The Trial of Chicago 7, because Sacha Baron Cohen is in a movie with... it's really funny. He's in an Aaron Sorkin movie, so I thought that was kind of an interesting combination. So... I think that's the right movie, unless I'm thinking of something else. Let me double check that really quick.
Very cool.
Okay, yeah, it's Aaron Sorkin. And then the other movie I watched was the second Babysitter movie, which definitely watch the first if you haven't seen the first. I know Nick doesn't like it. I don't know why. Wait, why didn't you like Babysitter, Nick?
What?
The Babysitter on Netflix? Why didn't you like it?
Can you explain that one again to me?
It's the one where the girl's babysitting him, and then it turns out they're cults, and they're like killing people.
That was a terrible movie.
The first one is so funny.
Did you watch the sequel, or was it the first one that you watched?
The first one.
Like? I mean, it's certainly over the top.
It's very
but
over
for
the
some reason
top.
It really
was terribly
worked.
over the top.
Yeah, do you not go for that? I mean, like, you could argue
Upgrade is not over the
but
top.
for some
Upgrade is
reason,
smooth and perfect.
So when it goes into the kind of campy territory, you don't really care for that stuff.
Maybe
like,
he's talking about when
this...
somebody gets shot and like flies across the room. Is that what you're talking about? Like,
Nick, do you care for like the scary movies or parody?
Not the scary parody movies, but no.
I don't mean like horror movies or thriller movies. I mean like the scary movies, the parody on horror films. You don't care for those?
I mean, they're all right.
I was just curious because it is like almost a special brand of humor. But I remember liking the first one. Now that I say that, because I just recently watched the sequel and I didn't really care for it very much. Like, it was okay, and I remember thinking like, I missed the first one. I'd rather be watching the first one right now. But it kept me watching for some reason. That's just Netflix, man. That's just like just regurgitated garbage. You can't turn it off. You're just like, oh, okay. And then like the screen comes on. You still watching? I'm like, yes. Don't insult me. I know I've been sitting here all day, literally doing nothing. You see your reflection in the TV screen. Continue watching. Are you still there? Get a life, loser.
and then the other movie I'm looking forward to is Freaky. My boy Vince Vaughn is coming back with the director that I love. I know Ty has issue with the Happy Death Day too, but I love Happy Death Day, so I'm so excited.
I think there's potential for them. I'm not saying that he like made a disaster. I'm just saying I don't understand why. I guess if time travel's happening, your first thought is, well, I guess I'll just kill my doppelganger. It's like, you don't know any of the rules, and your first thought is like, let me just murder that guy. Like, I don't know. I just think that's so crazy.
But I'm really excited to see Freaky. I think it looks hilarious. So, and I love Vince Vaughn so much. Oh my gosh, Brawl in Cell Block 99. All right, there you go. That's it.
Awesome. Well,
Nick, have you seen Brawl in Cell Block? Really quick, sorry.
What was it? I'm sorry.
Have you seen Brawl in Cell Block 99?
Sounds familiar, man, but.
Oh my gosh, you need to watch it. Watch it.
Yeah, it's a really popular episode that we did.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying. I'm talking about the movie, Nick, because it's about revenge, and you would freaking love it. Oh man, it's got your boy Vince Vaughn.
It's literally a movie about revenge. There's not a second that's not about revenge. Okay, so I watched Babysitter 2, which was It's just I like the Babysitter 1 so much, and then I'm like, oh, they have a sequel, and I jumped right on it without looking at the Rotten Tomatoes score or knowing anything about it. I'm just like, hey, a sequel. Like, the first one was good, and then the sequel is just so strange.
Yeah, but that cop was hilarious.
He was my favorite. That guy, yeah, doing the most in every scene he's in. Oh, I'm gonna need you to back up. I don't know, that humor. Just like, I'm gonna need you to step back is like my favorite humor in any movie. I don't care what situation that is. Just like telling someone, I'm gonna need you to step back is like my favorite thing, like of all time. Like, I'm gonna need you to just take a step back physically, sir. Like, wherever you are, I just think that's like my favorite humor. Just. Yeah, he was great. He was dialing it up. He was going for it. He kind of had his therapist though, the school therapist. Like, I guess he was super chill and cool. He kind of reminded me too much of the Get Out friend though, the TLC guy.
Oh, he did, yeah.
Or TSA, TS, motherfreaking A. Yeah, he reminded me of him, and I'm like, I don't know. I just kind of felt like they were ripping that off. I really liked. I just watched. Oh no, I didn't like. I went on Amazon Prime. I've been watching The Boys season 2.
Yes.
And I right after that I was like, let's watch something more lighthearted. And so we just watched this it's not even a documentary. It's literally just an advertisement for Disney theme park. And we'd literally just go on Amazon Prime. You can look up Disney theme park, and there's just this hour and 15-minute long video of just them talking about every ride attraction they have. And at the very end, it's literally an advertisement. They're just like, sign up here at this website. I was just like, oh man, I got had so bad. I just went on here and watched an hour and 15-minute advertisement for Disney. Obviously it was. They talked a little bit about the attractions and everything. It's just at the very end. They're like, what are you waiting for? Come down here. I just felt like...
That's what I feel like about the first Bill and Ted. It was
pocket.
just like a 40-minute advertisement on that
For
water
the
park.
Waterloo water
Yeah.
park. Dude, by the way, I don't know if we ever mentioned this. The Waterloo is the fight that Napoleon Bonaparte had a fight at the Waterloo. Like, I didn't even realize that. But, like, there's a double play on words there, which is why it's kind of funny that's so significant to him. But anyway, I don't even know if there's a real water park called the Waterloo, but it doesn't matter. But that was bothering me that I didn't bring that up on the podcast, because I'm like, they like spent so much time there like advertising the water slides. That's literally what I just watched. This is an hour and 15-minute advertisement for Disney. Anyway, they got me in their pocket. I've been activated. Okay, so real quick, I normally don't talk about pop culture and everything like on this podcast, because I don't think it really matters, because like, why are we trying to find meaning? Everything is useless. Everything is meaningless. I love this controversy going on right now. I don't even know if it's a controversy, right? So the Oscars, right? They're like, hey, we need more inclusion in our films. So they're like, to be a Best Picture winner, you have to like have one of the following categories, right? So you need like one of the following criteria. You need at least one of the lead actors or significant supporting actors from an underrepresented racial or ethnic group. Asian, Hispanic, Latin, Black, African American, Indigenous, Native American, Alaskan Alaskan Native, Middle Eastern, North African, Native Hawaiian, or Pacific Islander, and then bullet point, other underrepresented race or ethnicity. Like, what? And then, like, the number 2, at least 30% of all actors in secondary or more minor roles are from 2 at least of the following underrepresented groups: women, racial or ethnic group, LGBTQ+, or people with cognitive and physical disabilities who are deaf and hard of hearing. Okay, again, like, if you're trying to derive your morals from Hollywood or like the Oscars, like, you're a garbage human being, okay? Like, straight up. Like, this is the same community that hid Harvey Weinstein for like years on end. I mean, like you're talking about like who on earth like is going to the Oscars like, I need to get like, what are my stances on politics these days? Oh, I'm gonna look at these people like, oh, okay, good. The same industry that brought you movies like Cuties, like straight up child pornography, like these days. Like, it's so crazy. And these people are like, we're doing a lot of good things here and more representation. And like, it's like, you can't parody this stuff. It's like, now if you're gonna make Best Picture, it has to have these certain things. Look at the last Best Picture winners these last few years. You had Moonlight. You had what's that bestiality movie? The Fish Out of Water. Shape of Water.
Oh, Jordan's favorite.
Finding Nemo.
I did like it.
So directed by Guillermo del Toro or whatever his name is, Spanish American. Parasite, like, these are all the last picture winners of the last few years, and then Moonlight, right? Directed by Barry Jenkins.
Well,
and
I'm just
Guillermo
worried
del
about this
Toro,
whole checklist
and
because it's suddenly not going to become like it's like Mulan, for example. It was on a checklist and it's a piece of trash.
Yeah.
Straight up
this
garbage.
This is my point. This representation is like, it's like, if you literally need to see it on screen, like, it doesn't help. They tried this in Star Wars. Like, Disney's like, oh, we had a lesbian couple kiss. Wasn't that great? It's like,
And it
like,
just,
even
I think it
gays
just
are like,
made
I'm
the
so sick of
lesbians
this.
mad because it's like, you guys are just on a checklist. Like, I don't
Not
know.
even
It's
just the lesbian. Maybe the gays made everyone mad, dude. It made straight people mad. I'm a straight person. I'm like, I'm mad.
well,
Like,
it's just,
like,
I hate this
it doesn't-
checklist thing. It's just frustrating.
No, it's so glorious.
Just
dude.
just
let it
tell a
happen.
good
Let it keep
story.
happening.
Ugh.
I love it. Just let it keep happening, dude. They're all just like imploding on themselves, dude. I freaking love it. Like, I'm like, dude, have at it. Like, if you get your morals derived from this thing, you're like, oh, we need more representation, all these things. Good for you, man. Like, if that's all it takes, put a black person in your movie. Here he is. Just trot him out like he's an animal. Oh, look, our movie has a black in it. Like, I just think that's so stupid. It's like, look how much better we are than you. Like, I just love it. I genuinely love it. Good for them. I am so glad. Making the world less racist, one movie at a time, starring an African American, and one, or some, whatever it's called, women or racial ethnic group or LGBTQ person. I'm just blown away by
I'm
this.
glad I'm pretty glad I'm indifferent to all of that.
No, see, I
That sounds like
think
a lot.
I am too, but what I'm saying is, like, I know, but right, like the reason I'm like this is because it's like this is like art. Like it shouldn't even matter, right? It's like, why are you putting limitations on art, bro? And it's like, well, you know, these are people's lives that are being affected. It's like, dude, we're all happy to sign on for it for minimal effort, right? I mean, like the actors in Hollywood, they already have enough money. They don't care. They're like, yeah, I'll tweet you. I'll put a black box on my square or whatever, my podcast square. It's just unreal.
Or
dude.
show up to the
it's
rallies
making a
for 2
difference.
seconds, take a picture, and then walk away.
Take that Instagram for the gram, man. Yeah, take the selfie. Doing my cause for social justice, and then I get to go home and watch Netflix for 8 hours, man. I'm just saying, it's just fake, dude. Like everyone can see through this. Like Oscars are a dying thing, and anyway, I just laugh at that. I just think it's hilarious. And you're right, Nick. I would feel more indifferent to it. It's just amazing. Like to me, it's funny. That's why I brought it up. I'm not upset by it. I just get like, I think it's really funny. I'm like, I can't wait to see more representation than what we've already had. Oh, this is gonna be great. It's literally the South Park, like, right? Is this not parody at this point? Like South Park, they have Token. He's literally the black character, right? It's funny, like, it's because it's stupid. It's like you are literally putting someone there for the sake of the fact that he's African American, right? Other than just organically making a movie. Like movies like Irishman, it's about Italian, Irish people. Like, well, let's just throw a bunch of black people in there. It's like, it's not how it happened, but whatever. Maybe we're supposed to see past race, but it's like, but if we're supposed to see past race, but you enforce it, it's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to believe, dude. That's what I'm saying. Don't get your morals from the Oscars. That's my point. Be a free thinker. Think outside the box. Don't let people think for you, man. You heard it here first on the podcast. Whew, that was exciting.
Are you looking forward to anything, or is that it?
What am I looking forward to? I'm looking for more representation, man. I want more
brother.
handicapped people in my movies.
Jeez.
My favorite thing is who was it? No, someone in an interview told like Daniel Day-Lewis, they're like, oh, he's a method actor, and he's like, who was it? It was like some Brit. He was like, no, it's acting. Like he was like, why would you still act like that person off set? He's like, that's ridiculous. It's called acting. Like if I'm a good actor, I can go to set and then be the actor I'm supposed to be, or the character that I'm supposed to be, and then go home and then late at night and be like myself, right? It's just like totally poking holes and like people like Jared Leto and Daniel Day-Lewis are like, yeah, like when I'm there, I'm that person for like the next 3 months. I torture my coworkers. I torture my co-stars. It's like, whoa, no one wants to work with you, you freak. Like, oh my gosh. So now it's like, you have to be the thing. You can't actually be an actor, or you can't act like you're something if you're not actually something. I love it. I just love it. It's making me so happy.
Okay, let's wrap this up.
Wrap this up. We're going to end this podcast now by writing us an email at futromovies@gmail.com. Nick, do you want to tell people where they can find you on the internet, or
Your business.
how to support your cause?
Madtownresale.com, baby.
Right on. And we are going to be discussing next week The Court Jester with our guest, Kevin Wild,
man.
Yeah!
You guys should call me in on that one
It's
just for like
amazing.
2 minutes. Let me say hi to him real quick.
We can bring you back on as the guest on the game. We'll bring you on as a new character.
As long as I beat Kevin, that's all that matters.
Well, you can do whatever you want. It's an open world.
Gotta not roll.
Well,
the
not if I keep
critical-
rolling
yeah,
20s, I'm
roll the
not going
critical
nowhere.
number.
Well, it's good if you're doing the attacking, and if you do attack on somebody else and you roll a 20, you kill them.
If I'm going through a portal time machine and I roll a 20, I'm dead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't mean to laugh at that.
Oh, brother. Hey, everybody, take it easy. Stay safe out there. Anything else? Nothing else. Hey, thanks for signing on. Peace.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Peace out.
Oh, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, leave a review, 5-star review. Bye.